What do you know about this thing? It's a PlayStation Vita handheld console. Unfortunately, it wasn't a commercial success, so Sony has stopped supporting it. Here's the funny thing. The 3DS and the Vita were released in the same year, but the Nintendo eShop is closed and you can't buy games there, while the PlayStation Store is still up and running. You can still buy games, and some games are still being released for this console. Official support for the PlayStation Vita was discontinued in 2019, and a year later, the final version of Minecraft was released. This was the update Aquatic, which marked the end of the so-called Legacy Edition of Minecraft. It was replaced by the Bedrock version, although this version was never released on the Vita. A full review of the PS Vita edition can be found on the channel. I have left the link in the description. So what should all players who have bought this game do? And those who would like to continue playing the new versions exclusively on the PlayStation Vita? The answer is obvious. Turn to the community, which continue to improve and enhance this version. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a version of Minecraft that officially never existed, and most likely can't even be banned: Minecraft Enhanced. What exactly is this Minecraft Enhanced Edition? Well, it's not really an edition as such, it's essentially a mod for the official PlayStation Vita version. It's been developed by enthusiasts from the PG community team, who have been working on it for several years now, striving to improve this version and support it as much as possible. Let's start, shall we, with the PS Vita menu. First of all, the game will have an entirely different icon, featuring the logo for this version. Once you launch the game, you immediately notice the new live area screen. It's been completely redesigned, looks much better than the previous version, and most importantly, the team has completely overhauled the game's tutorial. It not only introduces you to the controls, but also covers the very basics of the game. That said, the tutorial world is still there, it hasn't gone anywhere. Upon loading, instead of the outdated Mojang and 4G Studios logos, as well as the familiar artwork, there will be new artwork featuring Alex and Steve, and the outdated logos will be replaced with new ones, including the addition of the mod developer's logo. The game's main menu will feature a completely new background. This time, instead of a screenshot from the tutorial world, you'll see a jungle and forest biome, as well as a small village on the plains. Obviously, you will immediately notice the new logo and completely revamped UI textures, and most importantly, the music. Yes, the game now features the new Minecraft music by Aaron Sheriff, Kumi Tanioka, Lina Rain, Amos Rodi, and of course, C418. Well, not every single track, of course, some are only available in specific resource packs, which we'll discuss a little later in this video. First things first, I obviously went into tutorial world to see how much it had changed and whether it had changed at all. Yes, there have certainly been changes. At the very least, the team has updated the textures and they look much better. But what surprised me was the full zoom function. Just like in Optifine, using the L1 button and the left button, you can zoom in and see what's in the distance. Yes, the question of whether this is necessary when the render distance is a sore point for this device remains. But the very fact that such a feature exists in the game is surprising. Moreover, the settings allow you to adjust the zoom sensitivity. I'll add that thanks to the plugins required for installation, which are now automatically included with the firmware, the game runs a bit better. It's more stable, which means the graphics can be slightly improved. In fact, that's precisely what the developers have done. You can now adjust the fog, choosing its distance and, shall we say, softness, and change the render distance. There are as many as 8 levels available, which I already consider a huge victory. They've added a field of view slider. Everything works just like in regular Minecraft. You can change the number of particles displayed, turn soft light on or off, adjust cloud detail, and control leaves rendering. If you've never played the official PS Vita version and now wondering what's the point is, I'll tell you that the original version didn't have a single one of these settings. What about the graphical interface as a whole? It remained largely the same, but it's been given a bit of refresh. As far as I can tell, the team took a few different resource packs, some elements from Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft Earth, and created something on their own. The developers don't even try to hide this. You can see this in the icons from the crafting menu. They've clearly been taken from Minecraft Earth, while the character outlines for the skin packs have been taken from Minecraft Dungeons. Overall, the interface looked better and fresher. It's somewhat vaguely reminiscent of the Bedrock edition, judging by the buttons, which have literally been taken from OurUI. The original edition of Minecraft used the old texture because the texture update only appeared in the Villagers and Pillagers update, and as I mentioned, the last update for the Vita was Update Aquatic. So in this mod, all the textures have been updated to match the new ones. But if by any chance you don't like this, when creating a world, you can select the Programmer Art resource pack, which restores the old texture for blocks, mobs and items, although the interface will remain the same. Now that I've mentioned resource packs, apart from all those that were previously available as paid DLC, which are now built into the the game by default. There are a few new and unique ones. The first is the famous Barebone pack. These are the very textures that Mojang uses for their update trailers. They're available on both Java and Bedrock. I'm sure you've played with them at least once, but on the Vita, they seemed a bit out of place to me, because it looks like though the textures haven't loaded properly. Barebones is mainly used with shaders to get that exact look from the trailers. Obviously, shaders aren't available here, so this resource pack doesn't really fit in. The second one, Vanilla Feel, adds all the new textures from Minecraft version 1.20, as well as the latest music from that update. Yes, every resource pack brings different music too. Overall, the name perfectly describes this resource pack, the latest texture without any unnecessary additions. The third, Enhanced Editions. This adds new mobs, models and textures, including a polar bear, an illusioner, new villagers, an evoker, a witch, who now has a small backpack on her back, a zombie villager, a skeleton, who now has a quiver of arrows, a zombie and several other new mobs, as well as of course new music. The mod's creators actually recommend using this one for a fully immersive and better gaming experience. Fourth, Enhanced Animations. This adds new animations for blocks and items. Let's just say it's an improved version of the previous resource pack. But I'll say straight away that it can cause performance issues, precisely because of these animations. There aren't that many of them. This mainly applies to blocks and items, such as valuable blocks occasionally sparkling, and the same goes for blocks of raw ore and the ores themselves, among other things. What I liked the most was netherite armor and tools. As I understand it, you can see lava spreading across these items. Tipped arrows show potion dripping straight from the tip. The potions themselves seem to be bubbling, fish splash about in buckets, and the ender eye literally blinks. The fifth and for now final Minecraft Enhanced is essentially a standard resource pack that was created as a default, and all the others I've mentioned are installed on top of it. It's this pack that includes the new interface and all the other changes of that sort. But all of this is, again, just visual. What about more substantial changes? If you watch the video carefully, you'll recall that the latest version is the update Aquatic, yet I've been just talking about netherite armor. How did that happen? It's simple. You can now find nether gold ore and ancient debris in the nether. They spawn just like in regular Minecraft, but remember that the nether is limited in size in this edition. That's not all though, because you can craft netherite ingots from gold ingots and netherite scrap, and you can then use these to craft netherite items. Yes, the mod does not add the netherite upgrade, passions or the smithing table, so crafting is done by combining a netherite ingot with a diamond on the crafting table. Don't worry, they retain all their durability and effectiveness, and of course they won't burn in lava either. Unfortunately, the nether biomes are missing here, just like the piglins. I got in touch with the mod developers and they told me that it's currently very difficult to add them due to the limitation within the mod itself, but perhaps they'll appear at some point. I'll add that the beacon has no trouble recognizing netherite blocks as blocks for the pyramid build plates, and netherite ingots are accepted as payment for effects. Among the new features, I can highlight that you can stack potions in stacks up to 16 and snowballs in stacks up to 64. This was taken straight from the Jeb's combat snapshots. Remember those? And the cooldown time for throwing a snowball is now exactly 4 in-game ticks. What really surprised me was the recipe for duplicating the Totem of Undying. At first I was taken aback and wondered, what's the point of all this? But there is a logic to it. The world in this edition is limited. It's literally 864 by 864 blocks, which you'll agree is tiny. That's why some items are worth their weight in gold. The chance of 2 woodland mansions appearing in this world is extremely slim, which is why the devs resorted to this trick. By the way, regarding to the world size, yes, as I said, it's 864 by 864 blocks, but they've added the option to expand it to 1024 by 1024 blocks. It might not seem like a huge difference, but for a mod like this, I considered it a victory, although because of this, some structures take much longer to load when created. That's not all. When creating a world, we now have a few extra options. Firstly, world seed templates. There are actually 17 of them, and each has something interesting to offer. But on top of that, before making your choice, you can preview which biomes will be present in that world. Selecting this option opens a separate window where you can preview the biomes. You can view the entire world directly and see which biomes are present. It would be great if they also showed structures, but I think that will come along too. Then came the third world type, Amplified. Does anyone remember this one? Yes, in it, mountains are generated higher and caves in the walls become much deeper than in the standard world. But this also leads to a drop in game performance, so choice is yours. And finally, the latest addition to the world generation is the option to choose the size. There are just 2 options: Classic 864 by 864 and Expanded 1024 by 1024. You can find giant mushrooms in the swamps. Yes, for now this is exclusive to Minecraft Bedrock. It isn't available in Java, and now it's also appeared on Vita. I'll go even further. You can can now encounter Illusioner in the Woodland Mansions. Yes, they are now a fully fledged part of Illager's family, so the quest to obtain that same Totem of Undying is becoming even more difficult. If you head down into the cave, you'll of course find gold and iron ore there, but instead of blocks, you'll now get their raw versions. That means the Fortune enchantment will work just fine on those ores. The creative menu now features new blocks, a farmland, various types of wood planks, command blocks, yes, but bear in mind that these are merely decorative blocks with no functional purpose. A dragon egg, a barrier block, and summoning eggs for the Illusioner, Snow Golem, Wither, Ender Dragon, and Iron Golem. The last two, by the way, only work in spawners. You won't be able to summon them just like that. As I've already mentioned, new villagers have appeared. Well, to be more precise, their models and textures are from the Villagers and Pillagers update, just like the zombie villagers. I should point out that their trading option remain unchanged. The other game drops haven't gone unnoticed either. Old variants of cows, pigs, and chickens from the Spring to Life game drop have also appeared in the game. Warm variants appeared in the tropical biomes, while cold variants appeared in the winter biomes. Exactly the same can be said about the new wolves. All variants from the Armored Puffs drop have been added, though there is no armor for the wolf yet. However, if you tame a wolf, it will have 30 health points instead of 20. Iron Golems now show visible damage after battle and can be repaired using iron ingots. You can encounter zombie horses throughout the world. They will appear with zombie jockeys, though instead of a spear they will be wielding a sword. If you kill the jockey, the zombie horse will already be tamed, and you can mount it straight away. It is now even possible to remove the saddle from the peak using a shear. That's a massive win. There was another change that I don't quite believe. The guys claim that somehow they managed to remove Herobrine from the game. I seriously doubt this. It's impossible to do. Even the developers of Minecraft couldn't do it. Among the welcome new features, the game now includes an option to display coordinates as in Bedrock, as well as the current FPS in-game, and moreover, debug information. For example, you can see the exact durability of items, as well as the numerical or text IDs of blocks and items, which is very handy. As you can see, the mods adds many improvements to certain aspects of the game. Of course, you shouldn't expect structures like trial chambers from it. This is most likely impossible to add, given the limitation not only of Minecraft itself, but also of the device as a whole. There were also many minor improvements and fixes, but you can read about them on the website. I've included the link in the description, of course. Yes, installing a mod of this game does take a bit of effort, but if you own a PS Vita, you've probably done something like this before. Especially if you installed new languages for games. The process is exactly the same. I doubt many people still buy physical copies of Vita games just to play them. Nowadays, this console is used to emulate games from older consoles. It's perfect for that, or to play that very golden collection of exclusives. I like the mod. Yes, it won't add a fully fledged new nether or new structures, but it will freshen up the game a bit and make the gameplay more enjoyable. I hope that in the future the mod will bring a fully fledged update to the game. Did you like this version of Minecraft? Have you played it? What would you like to see added? Write in the comments. I'm sure the creators will watch this video and read the comments. A special thanks to them for providing the new version of the mod. While you're waiting for the next video, check out these ones too. They're just as interesting. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and hit the notification bell. See you soon, because we're discovering Minecraft in a whole new way.